Hi, first grade friends, it's Mrs. Dickinson. I hope you watched my video of making a sun tracker part 1. I took a couple pictures of my finished chalk artwork outside. It took me a couple of days because the sun wasn't shining the whole day, and then it rained, so I had to redo my sun tracker. But I'm going to share with you my progress. So my first step was to use my phone. You can also use an iPad and look at the app called Compass. It's going to show you where north is. And when you're facing north, you're going to see a 0. And so as soon as you're facing north, you're going to see that number in the middle of the compass will say 0. And so you know that way is pointing north. You're going to turn your body around and you're going to notice that south is the opposite direction of north. This is something you learned in social studies earlier in the school year. And so east and west we have on the sides. You might need an adult's help using the compass. So just ask them for help finding and marking up where north, south, east, and west is. I left my sun tracker and my chalk in the middle. This is where I was standing. I used my body as a sun tracker instead of the shadow of the piece of paper in the middle because my body is a little bit bigger than this paper. So it was easier for me to see my shadow or to see a shadow. And so here was my first marking. That was at 12:45 in the afternoon. This is around the time you would be in math groups. And so that is my shadow around 12:45 in the afternoon. I'm going to show you how my shadow looks different depending on what time of the day it is. Now, this is my shadow, and you can see that I'm holding my dog's leash as we were going for a walk. We were going for a walk around 2 p.m. And so you can see that I put a line up here where the top of my shadow is, and then I just tried to draw what would look like my body. Here's my finished sun tracker in my driveway. And so I want you to first look at, we have north, south, east, and west. The circle in the middle is where I was standing each time. I drew a circle so I knew to stand in the same spot so I would have accurate data. Here's my shadow at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so you're going to notice that my shadow is much longer at 8 o'clock in the morning than it is at my next marking. And so what I want you to think about is, do you know where the sun rises? The sun rises on the east. So I want you to imagine the sun's right here and my body is in the middle. And when the sun is looking at my body, right, it's hitting my body, it creates a shadow this way, right? And then when the sun continues to rise and I stand in that same marking, my shadow shrinks and it moves, and that's around 10 o'clock in the morning. This is when we start reading groups. So think about that. The sun continues to rise. It's almost in directly above us in the sky, but not quite yet. And you can see my shadow at 11 o'clock got even smaller. The sun continues to rise, and now my shadow is at 12 o'clock. The sun continues to rise, and it's going down maybe a little bit. And now my shadow is at 2 p.m. over here. And the sun is going to start setting in the late afternoon. And you can see my shadow at 5 p.m. around dinner time is right here. And that's because my body's here. The sun is shining and I am causing a shadow because I'm standing in between this part of the driveway and where the sun is shining on my body, right? You might be hearing some of the words reflect in the videos coming up, but I want you to be thinking about when you're outside and you know which way is north and you're facing that way, and you can see that the sun is shining and you have a shadow, could you figure out what time of the day it could be based on your shadow? I think you can. So friends, maybe you can try making a sun tracker at home, or you can try being the sun tracker yourself. If you have chalk at home, you can use chalk on a sidewalk or driveway. You could also use a rock as a measurement and maybe a stick if you didn't have chalk. You can always put a rock where you would be standing, and you can put little sticks every time you measure your shadow if you don't have chalk. If you do this at home, send a picture to your teacher so we can see. Have a great day, friends.